Former executive turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Connie is ridiculously dedicated to inspiring individuals to activate their power and live their dream as a lifestyle entrepreneur. It's time to sit down, lie down, or squat down and turn up the volume. Up or Out with Connie starts right now.
Well, hello and welcome to Activating the Power of Women, the podcast. I'm Connie Pheiff, transformational leader, mentor, and coach for women. And if you're looking for inspiration, motivation, and tools to excel in life and in business, you've come to the right place. Now, our guest today is Lover. I was looking at some of her background, some of what she does, and she is just phenomenal. She's a culture design expert, and that really caught my attention. I'm thinking, culture design expert. She solves for people problems in business, creating innovative workforces, integrating diversity and inclusion. And her book, The 12 Essential Business Communication Skills, will release in September 2018 and will be on Amazon.com. So please welcome Jessica Higgins. Hey, Jessica, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. Actually, my publishing agent just informed me that it's now the 10 essential business communication tools.
Okay.
And then they add 2 additional at the end. So my book title has changed, which is
okay.
so frustrating. So only look for 10 now. The 2 are still in there, everyone.
So 10, but it is in there. It's kind of like that. What's behind curtain number?
Yeah, the publishing world, you know.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And everybody that's published a book knows the book title you start with or the color you think you're going to go with doesn't end that way.
Honey, I got yellow. I'm so happy that you're saying this to me because I had this beautiful teal, like the color of the ocean. And at the moment they sent me this yellow book. So now my book is the same color as the Dummies Guide series, which is...
Publishers, I get you. Publishers will do that. Oh my God. I have 5 books and I don't think one cover, none of the covers, I'm going to say, is anything that I started with. None of them. So
we'll put together someday and just do whatever we want, Connie, honestly.
Yeah, right? So who's your publisher? Who are you working with?
So I work with Callisto. How about you?
Okay. My last one was at Morgan James. So, and I have another one that I'm working on now, but I can't say who it is. I mean, we're still doing some negotiating, but they've already like, okay, let me see like what your draft is of your book cover. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah, no.
Here we go. It's going to be changed.
Yeah, Callisto's great, everybody. They really are. But the reason I work with them is because they are like on their game when it comes to getting the book out. I was in talks with, one of the big 5s, and turnaround time was 2 years. And I'm thinking, I live in the age of social media. Like I work in minutes. I can't handle 2. And so Callisto had me, they actually bumped up my release date to August. So we're we start our pre-release in July 8th, which is in 2 weeks. Amazing. Yeah. And I've written this thing at the beginning of this year. So
wow. That's real good.
I'm so happy with them. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize publishing a book isn't what it seems. You think, oh, I just write this masterpiece, and then it
on
the internet, and you have to have a good team behind you.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Things that you are, and they're aligned to my mission of like effectiveness and just getting things out and doing it the right way with good marketing behind it. And I'm like all about that.
So you're all about. This is what I'm really intrigued with you, and a lot of people that I work with are of your age. And I love working with you with that age group because you, like you just said, like you are, it's like by the minute, we got to go. We got to get it done. And I know I'm that way. I know I'm like, if my team isn't keeping up, I'm like, what's the problem? Like, why are we moving? Keep moving. And things change. And the millennial, I mean, you're really quick to adapt and to change. And I love that. I really love that. Now, you started your own business by the age of 28. So let's go there. Like, what gave you that thought of just starting your own business at that age?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, just so you know. Stupidity and
tough skin, thick skin.
Huge belief in myself, and not aware that I didn't have any of the skills. I had like one subset of the skills I needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went straight from graduate school into a management consulting career and just thought, you know what, I can do this better than these people are doing this. Because after within 6 months at the company, I became their director level. I was director of business development. I was pulling their business out and just using the skills, like you said, that my generation has of like, let's grow, move fast.
Right.
But I was sitting at the table with this group of executives who are of a very, and I don't believe in ageism. I think it's a mindset. Like you said, I mean, there are plenty of lazy millennials out there. Let's not pretend like millennials are somehow.
And I agree. It is a mindset. And that's why I sort of hesitated when I said millennials, because it's not. I mean, you could find people at whatever, but it's a mindset.
Yeah. So, when you're sitting feeling like you are this way and everybody going, just calm down, Jessica, whatever. I said, I should go do this on my own. And then like 8 months into having my own company, my car was totaled and I went, yes, insurance money. I can pay my rent. So like that was the first 8 months of my business career. So like I said, don't, you think you can do something,
right? Take
your time, move wisely, make a safe exit strategy, transition out over time. I would recommend for sure. And, whether it's like a side hustle or something that you're passionate about, that's not the reason that you're going to have a successful business. The reason you're going to have a successful business is because you master accounting and you master financial planning and you master marketing communications and you master sales funnels. Like you're going to have a successful business because you understand how to have a successful business. It's not going to be. And it's sad when I see, I see so many, especially women come to me and they're like, I'm a yoga instructor. I love instructing yoga. How do I build a business? And then I send them a bunch of sales funnel books and go, this is how you, and they're like, what? I don't want to read this. I want to do yoga.
Right.
Yeah. So after smartly partnering with another group and learning all those skills that I needed, I've actually recently exited that company that we built into an advisory position and then successfully built my own business in like 3 days. I got 4 clients. And that was my next attempt to solopreneur. And I'm so grateful for it. So I can now say at 33, having, all of that experience under my belt, it's been a very different experience.
Yeah, I bet. So, and I could just hear everybody out there listening saying, how did she get those 4 clients? So how did you do that in such a short time?
Reputation. I built a reputation in the industry and people started just banging down my door saying, I want you to do my marketing. And I had never been a marketer. I had always been an organizational design engineer. And so marketing, okay, that's interesting. But in the culture change work that we were doing, part of it was internal data science. So understanding how the human being layer works for the organization and also studying the mindset of that. So because I had in psych and, organizational design, I could figure all that out.
Right.
But on the execution side, what we were doing is marketing essentially to these people. We were using influence change management. And so this influence that I was creating inside of organizations is actually very hard to do. Whereas when you're marketing a product to the external environment, you have a lot more people that you can connect with. There are so many different types of consumers out there. So the external marketing is actually much easier to do. But because I was so good at marketing internally, people started calling me, wanting me to market for them. And I went, okay. And I love it. It's awesome. So there you go.
So what type of businesses do you work with? Are there specific industries? Is it entrepreneurs you work with, corporations? Who do you work with?
So I'm right now focusing on growing really promising businesses in emergent technologies. So blockchain-based companies, artificial intelligence companies, and cryptocurrency companies.
Okay. We should chat then because we have many within our membership that do a lot of crypto, and that's a part women in technology, and that's a big area that I also focus on too.
Oh, interesting.
So that could be another conversation that we could be having there. But what advice? Because you talk about like somebody who does yoga, and that's what I've run across with because I've been, like I said, doing this for 12 years, and I come across so many people that are like, oh, I want to do yoga, oh, I want to play music, or I just want to speak, but they don't know the business side, the business aspect of it. So what advice would you give women to really step in their power of creating a business around their passion?
Yeah. So the reason that I learned everything I learned is just lateral moves. So when I go into a company, I take on, I started in consulting and I got to the director level for the same reason that I was able to branch out of my partnership and move into my own business, is lateral moves. So just taking on as much as you can in different areas. So I go say, oh, let me try that. Let me learn how to do that. And the more I learn and the more I pick up, whether it's, inbound marketing or it's design or it's even like web development. I sat with a web designer and was like, hey, how do you do this? And like, just learn as much as you can, because those skills as a business as a whole, that's the set of skills you need. You need all this. If you are in a company right now, go make friends, ask if you can take on a mentorship. Mentors are incredibly important. With people outside of your silo, make lateral moves until you can understand holistically how. Not in school. My MBA never taught this.
Right.
I'm talking about like how things actually work, and how to actually do them. Those are the skills that you need. And they're sitting in your current company. You just have to go and find them. Find somebody willing to teach you. And people love to teach. So it's an easy thing to do.
And that's absolutely true. Ask anybody for advice. Everyone is willing to give advice and teach you and show you something. But that's the one thing too with being an entrepreneur, is you have to be multi-talented across so many layers. But when you're marketing, and you know this, but when you're marketing and you're marketing out, you have to be very specific on an area that you market on. So Absolutely. That's, definitely different than you running your business and being, multi-layers with it. So you also talk about cultures and understanding cultures within an organization. So I want to understand that just a little bit more, because then you also, what I was looking at, you also talk about women's rights, women's activism, and is that scaring away clients? Because for years I work with men and women. I still work with men and women. We just have, I shifted my podcast to be women focused. I shifted one of my programs to be women focused. And there's been a concern of mine as well. Am I scaring away clients because we are, or you are, really being an activist for women's rights?
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in finding my tribe. And I am a big believer that if someone's not going to respect you for your gender, that's probably not somebody that you want to do business with.
Right.
Which is, it's easy to say something like that. It's much harder if it costs you money, right? So it's like, so I decided that my values have to come first, and that's a financial choice. So that's a mental choice. It's an emotional choice. And so I think that we did a really good job this generation of educating women. We're finally seeing more women are, going to college. Now women are over-graduating over men.
Yes.
But we're not employing women. So if you look inside of companies, they're only like 17% at the management layer. When you get into the executive layer, it's only 8%.
That's right.
And there's only one woman. And then you look at this statistic where if there's one woman in the C-suite, men feel that they report that women are being accurately represented in the workplace. So are men scared of women? Are they terrified of us? I have no idea. I'm like, we're really smart. We're overeducated. We care. I believe that women are like so passionate. I have an all women company. I only hired women, and I don't care if somebody's that's fine. Because if you show somebody like, oh, actually I do work with one guy, his name is Ben Way, and he supports women-owned businesses. He's a feminist, and he is like one of the early .com millionaires. So he's of a different mindset, Right. And so if you have people around that are of the same mindset, I think that's really important. But as a culture, I am pushing on the front of women to hope to change that mindset so that there is, I want the next generation of people to look back at women at the workplace and think like, why not? You're crazy. It's like whenever you look, not so long ago, women weren't allowed to vote.
Right. That's right.
Now we're not being allowed to work. So, I mean, I think you and I are of unique positions that we are able to take this platform, and not many people are. I have women coming to me in HR departments going, Jessica, what do I do? And I say, like, have that conversation, open up books and say, how are we hiring equal numbers of men and women? And just ask the question.
It's conversations. It's education. It's not just educating men. The one thing that I found out, because I was doing a lot of research when I decided to shift completely to working with women. And it's so funny. I have all women on my team as well, except for one guy. It wasn't intentional, but I do. But we have to also help to educate the women, because so many women hold themselves back. Or the other thing that I found out from a lot of the research that I did is like Generation X, on down, not necessarily the baby boomers. It's more, younger than that. But they want to have fun. They're the generation of not only having fun, I want to be in control. I want to stand up for myself. But for the women, they still tend to take that backseat of I'm not good enough, or living in fear, or, I don't know, like they're not pushing their way through. And that's the one thing that I do help promote, because the other thing that I see too with women is we actually go and fight against each other. Mm-hmm. And that happens because, again, you're getting into an executive position, because I was in the C-suite, the only woman for years. But when another woman comes in, there's always that challenge. And because you're fighting for like one spot, so you start fighting against each other, and that's the other thing too that we need to get away from. So that also needs to be part of the education.
I love the way you're talking, because you're talking how, like, I think, which is really, people talk about like organizational design, and I think managing a company through a series of structures, or managing a society through a series of structures, is it's just the wrong way of looking at things. It's why Richard Thaler won the Nobel Prize in economics, because it's about behavioral economics. So you have to look at human behaviors and look at that human side. The human side is what people are afraid to look at in business and life, and it's the thing that we're afraid to talk about. But the truth of the matter is, women were culturalized in a specific way. We were culturalized to compete against each other on all these different things for resources. So of course we have this weird corporate culture. We're weird people. We've been in a weird way. So it's not like you put on a business suit and you show up and you put on a chief marketing officer hat and then suddenly you're not a human. That's a lie. It's behavioral economics.
But that's how you have to remember, though. That's how it used to be. That's how the previous generation was. And it still is. I mean, you go to the old boys club. I was looked over for an executive position once. And I mean, I say I wasn't part of the good old boys firm club, because that's why I didn't get it. Although I had the board saying, you're getting it, you're getting it, you're getting it. And then I find out through an email, somebody else got it, a guy. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was so upset. But that was really it, because and I was told, well, because it's really a guy's network, we didn't think that you would fit into that. And so that's some of what we would hear as women, but I know it is changing. A lot more education needs to happen around it. We're just not done. So what other advice do you have then for women, to give women who really want to become leaders in their field?
Yeah, I love that you said education. I think it's like more enlightenment, really.
Enlightenment, that's a good word too, yes.
I think just creating awareness is number one. And then, I studied under BJ Fogg's Behavior Design Lab, which is the standard design lab that created Snapchat and Instagram. And his work is available online. He is a wonderful human being and publishes his work. I highly recommend going to bjfogg.com because you can learn little behavior design tricks. So one of my favorite behavior design tricks is the term trigger. So a trigger is anything that occurs that makes you act a certain way. And so one such trigger is when you get a text message. If you get a vibrate on your phone, then you look at your phone, which is why they push texting. You can also create triggers in the workplace. You can create triggers that reminds people of bad behavior when you see it. So if you can get creative about, if there's a bad behavior that you first become aware of, that's going to hold you back. The truth is, there are going to be behaviors that hold you back. The number one, if a woman wants to be a leader, then she's already doing her work. I believe that she's studying, she's learning, as much as she can, she's mastering the field, but she also has to make a path for that. So, one such example is like meetings. So there is this crazy habit that people have of interrupting women during meetings, and interrupting women during meetings actually reduces their perceived power. And so when you have your power constantly reduced, it becomes nearly impossible for you to create a powerful position. And so you have to make that way for your power to exist and create that power for yourself.
Right. That's a really good analogy because, I mean, I see it happen so much, so often.
I do this really. I just cut you off. Okay, that just happened.
We do it to each other. I know. But just like you, I did a lot of behavior, and like all of those things on my wall behind me. It's all of the behavior and the research I did about the human behavior, and it wasn't just business and corporate, but why do people behave the way that they do?
Right.
And it's a lot of exactly of what you're talking about.
Yeah. So my little ninja trick and it's really hard to pull off. So you have to practice it. But when someone cuts me off, I make them re-listen to the entire sentence. So they know that the next time they do it, they have to take time out of their day. So I go, I'm sorry. Let me go back and restate what I was saying. And then I make them listen to the entire sentence. And sometimes they'll cut me off and I'll go, okay, sorry, I'll try again. Let me go back and say, and they're like, no, I heard you. And I'm like, no, let me try again. I just do it like over and over again until they finally figure out, like, stop freaking being a douche and interrupting me. I
was in a meeting recently and there were 3 of us sitting there and I was introducing the 2 other people. So they didn't know each other. And it was a female and a guy. And I'm just wondering, I didn't realize this until you're saying this. So he was having a conversation with her and she said something and he cut her off. And, she stopped him and she said, I wasn't done talking. Do not interrupt me again. And they didn't even know each other. And she said that. And I was, and of course, at first I was taken back and I was like, whoa, I have to practice that.
Amazing. No, and we're all about equality here. We're not talking about women being better. We're talking about everybody being the same. I had a guy do that on a business call with me. It was last night. It was like their schedule was messed up. They were in a different time zone. So I had to take this business call at 9 p.m. I was exhausted. I was hungry. And I cut this guy off and he did that to me. And I was like, yep, you earned that one, buddy.
Okay, I'll give that one too. Oh my God, the one thing I want to do with my next book, this is my vision. I want to get a bus and I want to travel around the country educating men and women about what we're talking about a human behavior and how we can come together and gender equality. And you would be great to be on this tour bus with me. That would be awesome.
You don't need a tour bus. We have the internet. Let's make like a whole YouTube channel and just blast it out.
And just blast it that way. Yep. Just get it out there. See, that's what we're thinking differently because I'm thinking, I want to get in a car and drive. And you're thinking, no, we got to do it quick. We got to do it right now. Let's do it on YouTube. And actually, my team would be saying that too. No, we got to put it on YouTube. We got to get it out there. So
no, but if you want to do a bus, that's so cool because that's like the human interaction is so missing that's like real and raw. And I think that would be really interesting. But if you're simultaneously filming it, live streaming it, playing it, then you've got a movement.
Yeah. Yeah. I've already started looking for sponsors for the bus.
That's amazing.
And then we wrap it. And I'm already looking for sponsors. And so, depends on when the sponsor comes back. At this point, I'd probably be looking at spring. I was hoping it would have been fall, but we're probably looking at spring to do it. So we'll keep talking about that one. So I have a couple questions for you. I want you to finish this sentence for me. I activate my power. How do you activate your power as a woman?
I wake up every morning and set positive intentions for my day. So I wake up every morning and I stop myself and I tell myself who I am. And then my second step is to create a list of what I'm to do for the day. And they're all things that I can do in the day. I try to make that list. That's hard to do. And then I cross them out throughout the day. And that keeps me in tension and set on my goals. And when I'm feeling a little low, I go do cardio. And cardio gets my blood flowing and I feel positive again. And I end my day. So I have this whole intention routine. I end my day with a hypnosis for success and positivity. And so I sit before I go to bed, I listen to this hypnosis and I let it, take me to sleep.
Right.
And I have this whole hypnosis. I worked with this hypnosis group, and I have this whole program around confidence and not self-sabotaging and working through your, those inner voices in your head.
Right.
That is where I get my power. Because for a long time, when I first got successful, and I don't know if this happened to you, but when you first get successful, it's not like, oh, look at me, I'm successful. You kind of go, did I earn this? Like, should I be?
Yeah. It's like, what did I just do? Or, somebody would applaud you and I'm like, well, why are you applauding me? And
exactly. You're like, what's going on? And then people will go, no, you're doing a really good job. And you're like, I don't know about that. And so I have it like, I don't know about that life. And so the hypnosis really helped create confidence. Okay. So I have power, and then the power and intention setting throughout the day, and just because an object emotion will stay in motion. So you got to just but then again, I'm my own boss. So I have,
And we need that, especially with being your own boss.
Yeah.
And we do still need that sometimes. So the next one I have is I believe
that if we help others, we actually become a lot more successful than if we're only focusing on our own success.
It's very, very true. Vulnerability is,
it's like being yourself, even though you know that that's just a weird person. I think there's nothing better than to be yourself. And I'm a weirdo, so I'm like,
this is who I am. This is what you're getting. This is it. So what do you believe is the world's greatest wound?
The wound? That is a tough question in this political climate. I think our current greatest wound are these tariffs that are shutting down businesses in the United States. That's not the world's greatest wound. I just wish that we could have political stability so that we could even just get back to work and focus on thriving and making the world a better place through human innovation,
Mm-hmm. I love that. I really do love that. So where do you find balance of making things happen when you have to let some things go?
Tell me that. I don't know. I don't do that. No, I mean, letting things go. It's like, that's the hard part about a person who's really driven is we take on so much, and it's really hard to delegate whenever you know that you don't have the same passion level that the person you're delegating is.
Right.
And so for me, that passion disparity, because it's like my passion level is here, and I struggle with that. And one of my mentors, Ben, I mentioned, he said that the art of delegation is managing against human variation. Just know that variation exists, and manage to it, and just kind of play to the strengths and not the weaknesses. But that's a practice. Tell me yours.
Well, and I think it is a practice, like you just said, and it comes with age. And just like you, I had to do everything. I had to be in control of everything. I didn't want to delegate because there was that lack of trust, or if I have to explain it to someone, I could just do it myself. And so, and I have really high standards for how I want things done. So it's really hard for me to find that person that is a mirror image of me that's going to do it. And I've had some people over the years to do that. But then there comes to the point where it's, yes, okay, I have a to-do list. I do very similar meditation. I do mine in the morning. And while I'm doing that, or I might even do it when I'm at the gym, but I have to think to myself, okay, it's not going to get done. How important is that? Just let it go. Just let it go. And it just came again, I think over, through practice over the years. I lost my mom a couple of years ago. She was really instrumental in helping me let some things go. Yeah. And because I actually it was really a life experience for me, because I actually took 6 weeks and I completely stepped away from my business to spend it with her before she passed. And I would never have done that before, ever. And that was the other thing too about that time. I was struggling with, okay, do I let go of the business as I've run it for all of these years? Because I wanted to scale it. I wanted to go to that next step. And it was through conversations with her and some other people that kept saying, you need to do a program just for women. just for women. And then even my mom, on her deathbed, we're having a conversation, and she said, what do you enjoy doing the most? I said, I want to be a voice for women, for women's empowerment. That means I need to let go a big chunk of my business if I do this. Yeah. And, and it was her, and she said, you need to let it go. She said, you just need to let it go. And I did that, and it was hard. I mean, it's still hard even to today, because I actually had another podcast, Up or Out, which has been successful for 5 years, won awards with it. I think we had like 150 million listeners worldwide, all of the networks. I let it go. And I did this one in its place, and naming it initially Woman Who Dare. And then recently we found out that was a trademark issue, so we had to make that change, which we did. But I have not lost. I mean, I did lose followers, but I have not lost people that really want to listen and hear our story, because I'm more authentic now. I'm speaking now more with a passion than before. It was just like, okay, we're going to talk about business and leadership, which I still talk about leadership. And that's exactly what you and I are doing. But now I'm doing it in a place of, and somebody else said this to me, and yeah, that's it. This isn't a career for me. This is my passion. This is my life's work now, to be a voice for women and women's empowerment. So that's where I learned to let things go.
I'm so proud to be part of this, and I'm so happy that your mother inspired this for us.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you were, like, I mentioned, the values. It's like, how do you, it's easy to say things, but when you actually hold your values first, that's when it gets hard. It's hard to walk away from real money when you're in pursuit of a value, but that's when you know you have character, and that's that character replaces all that loss. You just fill with new character, and I resonate with that feeling. I mean,
and that's what happens in corporations, and you probably see this, where people are there, they're working, they're collecting a paycheck, but a lot of times it doesn't really fit into their own personal values.
Their values, right? Yeah. Which is why, that's why, for 5 years, I looked at how do you design values-driven organizations, and values aren't a series of statements on a poster on the wall. And none of business is. Business is so silly the way it's constructed, as if putting people in a room together, calling it a meeting, is somehow going to create innovation, or putting integrity
and something gets accomplished. Or
It's like, how do you create a values-driven organization? And so what are your major 3 values? I want to ask you the question.
You want my 3 values?
I want your values.
Oh, integrity, honesty, and trust.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, if you don't have that, I mean, you just, then passion and everything else comes with it. And going back to what you said before, people will have passion, but how do you take that passion and then make it a profitable business? So we could go on talking forever, but I know we are like way out of time. So I do want to thank you for being here. So what is next for you? Where do you go from here?
So you can visit my website at jessicahiggins.co.co. I blog daily. I write a lot of articles that are on our mission to help others. My mission in life is to help others grow. So through the communication skills that I've learned, the leadership skills that I've learned, and as I'm learning along the way, I blog every day for people, and it's you can go and read it at your leisure. I've started a company, Digital Unicorns. So it's digital-unicorns.com. And it's all about, like when you talk about it in the tech world, you talk about a unicorn, and there's this weird type of human that's both data scientist and marketer. And they call that person like a digital unicorn. And so it's this, Indiana Gregg. She's actually a former famous pop star out of Scotland. Right. And she's like this famous singer-songwriter. And she's this amazing human being. She and I have started this firm where we're growing platforms for organizations, helping them find investment, helping them find awareness in the marketplace. And we've been very successful in our short time so far. So that's our website. There's some free resources. And then, I've got this 10 communication skills book coming out. So if you want the most important communication skills I've learned in my years working with Microsoft, Zappos, every major tech company there is, they're all in that book. So check it out on Amazon in August.
I know, and it's coming fast. So yeah, you definitely have to get us a copy of that. So Jessica, I want to thank you for being here. I just loved having a conversation with you. This is just pretty awesome.
Totally awesome. I've really enjoyed this, and I am serious. I want on this bus. So one of my my old clients, Tony Shea, he did this with Zappos. That was part of his. He did a happiness tour.
That's right. They did the happiness tour.
Yes. And it was amazing. So don't let anybody tell you that your innovation is wrong. Your innovation is amazing.
Nope. So you want to learn more about Jessica Higgins, head over to her website at jessicahiggins.co and watch for her book that's going to be coming out in August, and you'll find that on Amazon. And we'll share a lot of that down below with this podcast, all of the information. So to be a guest on Activating the Power of Women, send us an email to bookme@activatemypower.com. This is Connie Pheiff, your unstoppable diva. And until next time, activate your power and be unstoppable together.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening to Up or Out with Connie. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest, email the team at bookme@uporout.com. Learn how you can activate your power at activatemypower.com. We'll see you over there. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.